What is this?
That is definitely not a tadpole. Whoa. If you saw my video about the animals welcoming me back home, you know that this guy's been hanging around my garden and pond area. Boy, it really looks ferocious. It's got its mouth open, drooling, but I'm a little more comfortable with these guys these days. Yeah, check that out though. Crazy. Another wild friend on my own property. Well, these opossums are pretty cool. Anyway, it's hard for me to sit at the computer at night or in my bed at night when I know things might be going on outside with the salamanders on the loose and different other things going on. I wanted to head out for an adventure with my boy tonight, so we're gonna go check out some things at the lake, see if we can find something in a couple puddles I know of, see if salamanders are breeding there, see if we see any fish, frogs, other things. But I came to check my garden pond first, and this guy was on the ground, and it started heading over to one of those grapevines, but I figured I'd grab it first. So, cool looking possum. Very neat. How you doing, buddy? Wow. Crazy creatures, huh? I think so. Look at my friend. Yeah, buddy. Look at that. No winking this time, but no growling, no hissing, none of that stuff either. Just kind of chilling. We'll let it go here in a second. Wow. All right, guys, Papa Pepper monster truck down here. There's some water up over there. It's kind of like a big mudding hole on a path that people sometimes take to get to the creek. Frogs definitely breed there. We saw that last year, but I'm thinking the salamanders may be using it this time of the year. Again, it's 40 degrees, so it's kind of a colder night, but we saw it adventure. So we got fishing pole, we got net, we got some other things. We're just gonna go peek at this and see what's going on. So guys, they weren't all tadpoles. If you look at Monster Truck's hand, that's actual larval stage of some sort of salamander. That is crazy. Let's see if I can get some better footage of it. Wow. Okay guys, you can't see it that well, but this guy actually has front legs first, and it actually has gills, which would make it very obvious that it's not a tadpole, meaning a, you know, frog or toad tadpole, but this is actually some sort of salamander. So they've definitely been breeding here. I think we have sleet right now. I can feel it coming down. Well, I'm gonna try to get this guy in a glass jar and show you guys a better look at him. But so far we've had a successful night. Wow. So guys, for comparison, what we have here on the right is just a tadpole, which is how they're going to look a lot of times when they turn into frogs or toads, and then on the left we have the salamander larva. Now, the interesting thing about salamanders, some remain aquatic their entire life. Some of those have external gills like this one does. Some of them do not. Some of them are completely terrestrial. They lay eggs on land, and then when they hatch, they look just like the adults. We've got some lungless salamanders in this area. I think the western slimy and the Ozark zigzag may be a couple examples of that, I believe. But there's some that are lungless and they just kind of are terrestrial their whole life. And then there's some that go through a metamorphosis much like a frog or a toad would. So on the right again, center screen now, you have a little tadpole. And it's more elliptical, more round, more oval, and then it just has a little tail. As it develops, it's going to get its hind legs first. The tail is going to start to shrink, and then it's going to get front legs. It has no external gills. You'll see it coming up to the surface periodically and gulping air. Compared to this much longer salamander larva with external gills, and actually, if you can see, the front legs are noticeably longer than the back legs. The front legs kind of come out first on these guys, which is the exact opposite of what we see in the tadpoles. So we thought we would pull these out and kind of show you a comparison, just so you can kind of see if you're dealing with a tadpole or an actual salamander larva. I know a lot of times people just see things and they think there's something without really investigating too much, but I want to make sure to show my children the difference and kind of let them get some of this hands-on education about the real world around us. So what do you think about those, son?
Yeah. Well, some of the one on like the salamander.
Yeah.
It has like little gill type little things.
Do you know any salamanders that have gills their whole life?
A type of newt.
The newts usually don't, but what you do is the mud puppies. You remember mud puppies from up in Wisconsin? And one of our friends just caught some jug fishing. So they do. And then like you get some big, long, slender ones too, like the three-toed Amphiuma or the western siren, which look very different than a lot of what we would normally call salamanders around here. We're hoping to find some of those this year. But yeah, this is just a little bit of the difference here between the two of them. So I'm not sure. We're asking around a little bit and thinking about these guys. One of the guesses about who this salamander larva may turn into as an adult would be a ringed salamander. I will insert a couple pictures of those, but they look similar to the spotted salamanders, except that they have rings going around their body rather than the kind of the spots, but they're also black and yellow. And they're kind of rare, I guess, but in this area they are kind of rather common. So they must have obviously bred earlier than the spotted salamanders, which are breeding now, and their eggs had time to hatch, and then these guys are already growing. So we'll get these guys back in the water, but just a pretty cool thing to see. And what a crazy experience to have tonight, eh, son?
Yeah.
Alright guys, Papa Pepper here, and this is a really cool salamander. And the reason I say it's really cool is it's a ringed salamander, but these guys are native to the Ozarks, and that's pretty much about it. For the most part, you're going to be able to find them in Arkansas, in Missouri, and then a little bit in eastern Oklahoma, and supposedly there's some in Illinois too. As you can see, it's going to be a dark salamander with some nice rings of usually yellow. Some of these are yellow, some of these kind of fade into white. And Although they're seen as least concern as far as their population rating, there may only be like 100,000 of these in the wild. Supposedly they're increasingly rare, and some people speculate that they could even be endangered. Now around here we see some, usually every spring. They're going to be in kind of moist forests and stuff like that. Normally if we're moving rocks or leaf litter out in the woods, we'll find them. This one's actually pretty long. It's a beautiful specimen. And like other salamanders, they are an amphibian. They absorb a lot of things through their skin. And one of the problems with that is that when an ecosystem starts to become contaminated and polluted, that amphibians are one of the first to go. I'm listening to some tree frogs around here. But thankfully we've got a lot of amphibians in the area. We're in a pretty rural environment. Seems like a pretty healthy environment. So very good to see. These guys spend a lot of their life underground. They're not a mole salamander, as far as I know, like some of the other ones that look similar, spotted and tiger salamanders, but they will spend a lot of their life underground. And they're going to eat small insects, earthworms, things like that. So, like I said, we usually find a couple each year. This is something I would not have encountered up in Wisconsin. I think we have 7 species up there of salamanders. Far more in this area. But then you have some too which are really only native to this area. So this is a beautiful creature. Absolutely incredible. I love it. It's cool to see. I'll see if I can get him on his face there for you. Maybe not. Coming into focus. They're cute little guys. We appreciate them. We like them. There he is a little better. We enjoy them, and just beautiful color. So, alright guys, the ring salamander. Pop out.